Good evening. I'd like to call the 13th meeting of the Mayor and City Council, 30th meeting of the Mayor and City Council to order at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilman DeWalt,
Here.
Councilman Cole,
Here.
Councilman Sidnor,
Here.
Councilman Mitchell, President Smith,
Here.
Mayor Mo.
Next, we have the report of the Mayor and City Council, and I will start with Councilman DeWalt.
Good evening, everyone. On May 1st, I completed the No Mow April, which was a city-sponsored event. Even though my grass was very, very high on May 1st and it was very wet, I completed it. I started at 8:30 in the morning, cut my grass, me and my neighbors, and I finished at 3:30 in the afternoon. It was a long day of cutting grass, but I can say now that I completed the No Mow April, sponsored by the city of Laurel. One other thing, and I know that the mayor's going to mention it, Christian Pulley was selected to participate in a senior executive program in state and local government. It's supposed to be a very prestigious school and training, and congratulations, Christian. 2 different times I participated at Brighter Bites and volunteered to hand out fruits and vegetables at Laurel Elementary School. We handed out, the first time we handed out 150 bags to our neighborhood citizens. And on the second Brighter Bites, I showed up at the elementary school when they were in lockdown. There were 3 police cruisers in front. So it got canceled for that day, but it wasn't anything, it was a suspicious person, but it wasn't anything serious. And it seemed to get resolved. So it's good training for the teachers and their staff. Also volunteered at the American Legion Bull and Oyster Roast, and then the election of the Sons of the American Legion. And I would like to congratulate all the new members of the executive branch of the Sons of the American Legion, the new officers. It's finally come to a reality. The alley street, I think it's complete. Several citizens took advantage of it. They piggybacked off the contractors. One had a pad board. Another one had a bunch of bamboo in their backyard removed, which was awesome. You know how hard that is to get out. And they used a big tractor to get that out. And they also had a barrier for a flower garden made along the alleyway. And I can't wait for the grand opening. I'm sure a lot of people are going to get excited about it. And I'm sure people that live on alleys that are in need of repair will probably get a lot excited over it. The other thing I did a couple days, I went up to Oxford and Ashford. I wanted to just experience the speeding along that bridge area, coming from Ashford on, coming from Oxford on to Ashford. So I went up there with my speed limit 25, keep kids alive signs, trying to slow people down. And me and Council Member Mitchell actually had to stop a whole family of Canadian geese that were crossing. I'm talking four fully grown Canadian geese with about 12 small ones. And they waited on the side of the road till we stopped that traffic and then they crossed there. I think that would be a great, great area to put some sort of, I don't know, some things on the roadway showing and some signs up showing that that is definitely a Canadian geese crossing. And maybe that'll even slow the people down when they're driving through the airport. One other thing, the last thing tonight, the Laurel Cats is having a fundraiser at the 198 restaurant in Burtonsville. And tonight, Mike Walls, my neighbor, is playing in his band. And then tomorrow night, they're also going to be there. And all the funds, portion of the funds go towards Laurel Cats, which we all know is a great, great organization. That's all I have, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Next, we have Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. On April 30th, I attended the Braxton Legacy Prom giveaway with Councilman Sidnor and the other council members. This past Saturday was a great weather, busy day for lots of festivals in Laurel. I attended Lake Fest and the Fido Festival down at the American Legion. This upcoming week, we have our Pride meeting virtually on Thursday, the 11th. Welcome anybody to join us for that planning meeting. I did want to give a special thank you to the Department of Public Works employees for completing a mulch reduction on all the street trees on Main Street. It's horticulturally appropriate and it just looks better. So I'm excited to see that in time for the Main Street Festival. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Cole. Next, we have Councilman Mitchell.
Greetings. To start off my report, on the 25th of April, I went to the county administration building. They were doing a hearing on the landlord retaliation for rent stabilization. And that was to protect tenants from retaliatory practices and also to protect some of the seniors who were in affordable housing units. And so that bill did pass unanimously. So that was actually surprising. But on the 26th, I went to the Black Wall Street Awards. It was in Upper Marlboro, right next to the courthouse, and it was pretty cool. I met the first Black senator, Tommy Broadwater, and so it was definitely a great experience. And April 28th, I went to Brentwood to visit, and they had a candidate meet and greet at Mixed Food Hall. On that same or later that day, I went to the Laurel Mill Playhouse to check out their 25th annual Putnam Spelling Bee. It was pretty funny, and it was actually the first time that I had been to a show there. On the 29th, I went to the GOAT Expo, which is all about youth and mental health at Bowie State, my alma mater. And then later that day, I attended Maryland Day at the University of Maryland. To finish that weekend on the 30th, I attended the prom suit and dress giveaway, and I was able to help out by donating some clothing. On the 3rd, I did a walkthrough of AAA party rentals and a facility tour. On May 4th, I stopped by Decadent Cakes and Maple Lawn for May the 4th Be With You Day, which is for any Star Wars fans out there. On May 5th, I went to the 32nd Affordable Housing Conference of Montgomery County, and that one, it was very well attended. And then also it was Cinco de Mayo, so I did stop by a couple local businesses, Acapulco and Cheetos. They were very well attended events, and also that day I was able to go to Laurel High School. Their varsity baseball team, they had a senior night, and so they beat Suitland. I think it was 20-1 or 21-1, and so that game ended early with the mercy rule in effect. And so definitely wishing them the best of luck, because tomorrow is their first game of the playoffs and they are the first seed. And on May 6th, I went to the Fido Fest at American Legion Post 60. And I was actually able to attend with one of my twins, and he very much enjoyed all the different sized dogs and all the training. I then later went to the lake house in the lake for Lake Fest. It was very well attended, and I ended the day at Arama Day. Arama Day had a grand reopening, and that was exciting. I will tell you, it looks fabulous inside there, and they have even more space. So definitely looking forward to actually purchasing something from there. And I will say that this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. So of course, I want to appreciate all the teachers, staff, all the people that, continue to keep things running. I will say that me as a parent, a lot of times teachers spend more time with your kids than you do, because think of how many hours you're at school. So definitely wanted to appreciate teachers. And, all throughout this week, I'll be at a few schools throughout Laurel area appreciating teachers. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Mitchell. Next, we have Councilman Sidnor.
Thank you, Mr. President. On May the 5th, I attended a Centurion sponsored by Maryland Park and Planning. County Executive Alsabrook does it every year. It was great being there. The oldest person was there was 108 years old. They were still talking and still had their, a lot of skills, a lot of cognitive skills. So I was very impressed with that as well. On May the 6th, I attended Lake Fest. On May the 7th, I attended Laurel Museum. It was sponsored by the Laurel Historical Society, and the theme was Your World Children's Day. Got to play a couple of games with the children and talk to them as well. So I want to thank the Laurel Historical Society for putting that on. And then on May the 7th, I want to thank the Islamic Community Center for having a Day of Eid festival. It was open to the whole public, had free food, free ice cream. The Chief of Police of Prince George County was there. Councilman at Large Kevin Hawkins was there. A lot of community people was there also. So it was great being there. I want to thank him again for hosting that event and letting open it to the community. So we have a very diverse community here in the city of Laurel. So once again, thank you. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. I'll go myself before I go to Mayoral. I as well attended the ICCL picnic, and as Councilman Sidner said, it was well attended. I caught Councilman Mitchell leaving as I was entering, and it was nice to be able to break bread and just enjoy the community and meet all the people there that worship. I also stopped by and celebrated Cinco de Mayo with our constituents here in the city of Mad Cow and Cheetos. I enjoyed that as well. The Lake Fest was a great event, well attended. So many people, so many smiling faces. It was beautiful to see all the children interacting and seeing people on the paddle boats. I also went to the Laurel High School choral concert. And I know two of the teenagers in there that are singing in the choir. It was beautiful. I was pleasantly pleased. I wasn't sure what I was going to hear, but Laurel High School is doing a great job with their chorus, and I'm looking forward to them doing more concerts in the next school year. I also attended the Braxton suit giveaway that was also hosted with Councilman Sidnor. That was a great event. Seeing the high schoolers come in that were leaving with smiling faces as well from all the donations from people that donated. And lastly, I went to an East Coast International Showcase reception for high school students from all over, from some from the Caribbean, some from here in America. They had that at the Prince George's sports complex. But the reception was at Copper Canyon Grill, so I got to meet a lot of the people that made that happen, and it was great to be in their attendance and see all the high schoolers that are They're at the showcase looking to go to their school, their college of choice, whatever. And that concludes my report. I'll move on to Mayor Mo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me start out by offering condolences to the family of Ali DePietro. That's former Mayor DePietro's mother who passed away, and it was a fixture on Nichols Drive many, many years, and happens to be the grandmother of our budget director, Michelle Sales. So we offer our condolences and keep them in our prayers. I also want to announce, as you heard, Christian Pulley, who is our city administrator, has been accepted to participate in the senior executives in state and local government training this June. This program is held through Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, and they focus on developing innovative solutions and changing the world. And we couldn't have a better person than our city administrator being selected for that. So congratulations to you, Christian. The Arbor Day, we did plant a tree at Arbor Day in Discovery Park, and want to thank facilities and Park and Rec crews for making that possible, Bill. Also, later that evening, we had our first City Hall in the park at Emancipation Park, Community Park, and I want to thank those that came out. On the 27th, I had the opportunity to meet with King Komi Lajaya, I think is how it's pronounced. Excuse me if I got it wrong. Who is visiting from Tuco, West Africa, and had the opportunity to meet with him, his wife, and his brother who lives here in the city, and appreciate him taking the time to stop by City Hall, and we were glad to be able to chat. I also want to thank Sheriff Carr, who invited me to participate in the community roundtable that was dealing with not only county issues, but drilling down into local communities. I know he has a good relationship with our chief, and appreciate Chief Carr providing me the opportunity to be part of a roundtable discussion. Also had the opportunity to attend, be a volunteer firefighter EMT for a day at the University of Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute. That was put on for all the elected officials around the county that wanted to participate. That was done by the Prince George's County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association. I got a little experience in that, but I did go and observe and stayed for quite some time, and many of the mayors and council members that attended around the county really did have a great time. I encourage them to continue that. I think it's a great program, and they need to, again, make sure all the elected officials know what they do day in and day out. A couple of announcements. The Laurel Farmers Market will begin, and they'll open on Thursday, May the 11th from 3 to 7 p.m. The market will stay open every other Thursday through September the 28th. And again, we encourage residents and those that may be listening to take part, stop by, buy something, and participate. That's the only way we're going to keep that market there, and hopefully it will grow as people participate and shop there. On May the 12th, the City of Laurel Employees Award Ceremony will take place. City Hall will close at 1 p.m. For that, and us to acknowledge our employees. So May the 12th at 1 o'clock, City Hall will be closed. On May the 20th, from 9 until 4, it'll be the Main Street Festival. And at 3 p.m. until 7 p.m., that same day is Kids in the Park Day at Granville Goody Park. A lot going on May the 20th, but we encourage everybody to take the opportunity to participate. Bill, I want to thank you and your staff. You guys have been very involved here lately, as well as you heard with the NOMO event that took place in April. We tried to participate as much as possible as a city, and I know I did and other council members did as well. Unfortunately, I wish it did grow awful high, and it was something to cut, but we tried to do that as well in city government, and I appreciate you all doing that, as well as the Environmental Affairs Committee. Let me also, Bill, thank you and your staff, police department, and others who participated over at Lake Fest. And I just appreciate all that you all do to really put that together and to make sure it goes off without any issues. Mr. President, I did want to make sure we sent out a memo recently. We talked to Mr. Lucci, who's on. We talked to the president of 1994, and tonight we have added a new charter resolution, which is 179, and we appreciate you adding that on to the agenda and have the first reading. We took out the year piece in that, which they requested. Len, unless you have anything to add to that.
No, sir.
Okay, so that's before you tonight. What we'd ask you to do is to take 178, since it's been already been introduced, and just make a motion to table it indefinitely, which kills that piece of legislation, and then move with 179 for the first reading, and then on the 22nd, be prepared to vote on that. We think that's the cleanest way to proceed with this. Lastly, Mr. President, a couple proclamations that we'll put out. We do have a Teachers Appreciation Week, May 7th through the 13th. National Economic and Development Week, May 8th through May 12th. National Police Week, May 14th through May the 20th. Bike to Work Day, May the 19th. Kids to Park Day on May the 20th. And then National Public Works Week on May the 21st through May 27th. And we'll put that out over social media. There was an awful lot, so we decided to do it that way. And again, that concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And before I move forward, I do want to say congratulations to City Administrator Christian Pulley. I should have said that in my report. I'm sure all the council members wish to congratulate you as well, as Councilman DeWalt did. That is a great accomplishment. We're proud of you. So moving on to agenda item number 4 is the mayoral appointment of Ralph, excuse me if I pronounce the name wrong, Ralphenia Tia Clerk as Chief Judge of Ward 2 Board of Election Supervisors. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I make a motion to appoint Ralphenia Clerk, the Board of Election for Ward 2.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Sidnor,
Yes.
Councilman DeWalt,
Yes.
Councilman Cole,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
President Smith,
Yes,
motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President.
problem. Moving on to agenda item number 5 is the general public hearing. Madam Clerk, is there anyone signed up to speak?
Mr. President, on this item, we have, we do have Miss Maria Gonzalez Jackson. I don't know if she wants to speak during the general public hearing or wait for the budget item. I can let her speak for a second and see what she would
Ms.
like.
Jackson, would you like to speak now, or do you want to wait until we get to that line item?
I'll wait for the line item, President
Okay.
Smith. Thank you.
Well, I will open and close the public hearing at 6:22 p.m. And I will move on to agenda item number 6. Is a second public hearing with possible action on the charter resolution number 178, charter resolution of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland, amending Article 300 government of the Charter of the City of Laurel to amend Section 357 to allow collective bargaining for certain employees of the Department of Public Works. A new charter resolution to allow for the collective bargaining of certain employees of public works has been prepared, but first we need to motion and table charter resolution 178 indefinitely before we introduce a new charter resolution. I'll entertain a motion.
And Mr. President, I make a motion to table indefinite charter resolution 178.
And can I get a second?
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Sidnor,
Yes.
Councilman Cole,
Yes.
Councilman DeWalt,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
President Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Mo.
All right. Agenda item number 7 is the introduction and first public hearing on charter resolution number 179. A charter resolution of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland, amending Article 300 Government of the Charter of the City of Laurel to amend Section 357 to allow for collective bargaining for certain employees of the Department of Public Works. Mayor Mo, do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, Mr. President, I think this takes care of what Mr.
What you
Lucci
just
talked
said
to.
earlier. All right. Well, the general public hearing, is there anyone, we know that there's no one signed up to speak on this, so I'll open and close the public hearing at 6:24 p.m. Are there any questions from the council? All right. Well, if the council agrees, we'll hold the second public hearing with possible action on this item at May 22nd, 2023 meeting.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'm sorry. We did have 2 people signed up to speak on the charter resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We have, let's see, Alejandro Miranda, and I'll let
Okay.
him.
I'm
speak
sorry,
now.
I'm gonna open the public hearing on that for 6:24 p.m. And I'm
Okay.
gonna call on Alejandro Miranda.
Council, I don't have question now. I hear the presentation. I'm fine right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miranda. Do we have anyone else signed up to speak?
Yes, the other person is John Barry, and I'm allowing him to speak now.
All right, Mr. Berry, you have the floor. Mr. Berry, are you there?
He's still on mute.
Okay, now you can hear me. Okay. I just want to say that, we've been working with DPW workers for about 6 months now to get the right to bargaining, and we're glad to see this process is moving forward. With the charter amendment, we can take the next step. When we received the language of the Charter Resolution 178, we were a little concerned, but it looks like those problems have been resolved, and we look forward to passing 179. We also want to say that we look forward to working on the code itself once the charter resolution is passed, and we understand that it's a process going forward. President Wren has sent a letter to all council members and the mayor to clarify the union's position on collective bargaining legislation. As noted, we have a long history of representing the public sector, and if we do represent it or not, both sides will benefit from an efficient and effective process. The discussion is just beginning. Contact us if you have any questions. And as the summer proceeds, everybody should remember that our schedules are going to be busy, but this is ultimately about the people who are going to be working all summer long, often in 100-degree weather. So the union received its call in December, 6 months ago, and within 48 hours, these people had signed enough cards to file the election if it had been a private company. They've done what they need to do, and working together to get them to the bargaining table is what we all need to do now. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Berry. We're looking forward to it passing. All right. And so I will close the public hearing at 6:27 p.m. And if the council agrees, we'll hold the second public hearing with possible action on this item at May 22nd, 2023. All right, next agenda item is agenda item number 8, a public hearing on constant yield tax rate. Director Saylor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we discussed at the May work session last week, the constant yield tax rate is that which, when applied to our assessable base, will yield the same amount of tax revenue from one year to the next. And while the city is not increasing its tax rate, the overall tax assessable base has increased, and most likely will increase tax bills for our property owners. So we are required by the state to have this public hearing, to advertise the notice. It is on the website. So the city's tax rate is staying at 71 cents per hundred. and not lowering it to the 67 cents calculated by the state of Maryland. This will allow us to provide all the things in the budget that we have been discussing on last Wednesday, the 3rd, and this evening at the 5 p.m. work session. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Are there any questions from the council? Okay, Madam Clerk, is there anyone signed to speak on this item?
No, Mr. President.
All right, well, I'll open and close the public hearing at 6:29 p.m. And all right, and that's that. Okay, and moving on to agenda item number 9, introduction and first public hearing on ordinance number 2011, an ordinance adopting the general operating budget and capital improvement program of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for the fiscal year of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and to levy property taxes and authorize collection of such taxes. I've read the title into the record for the first public hearing. Director Seller, you have the floor again. You have anything to add? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Just to confirm for the record that the general operating budget for FY 2024 is $41,341,675. The reauthorization of funds for the capital improvement program is $28,180,422. And the new requests for existing project funds is $6,596,395. And then the brand new projects that we've discussed, $3,219,000. I apologize that on page 5 of the ordinance, there's a duplication of the $6,596,000 section. Sorry, that passed me by. So on page 5, that's just a duplicate of that same section. So no changes there. This ordinance and this budget will allow us to fund our pay plan to, of course, implement the conditions under the CBA for the police department, the increases in goods and services that we need to perform our jobs for the citizens and businesses. That is all contained within the budget we've been discussing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Are there any questions from the council? All right, again, if you guys have questions, you can still send them to the city administrator. This is just the first public hearing, and of course, they will work on getting answers on that before we bring to a vote at the next meeting. Madam Clerk, there is someone signed to speak we mentioned, and that is Maria Jackson. Is there anyone else besides her?
No, Mr. President, she's the only one.
Okay, well, I will open the public hearing at 6:31 p.m. on this item. Ms. Jackson, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Mo, President Smith, Councilman DeWalt, Cole, Sidnor, and Mitchell. Thank you for giving me this time to speak. I currently serve as the Vice Chair for the Laurel Education Advisory Committee and have had the pleasure of working with President Smith, Councilman Sidnor, and now Councilman Mitchell on this committee. And before COVID, we put forth a proposal to the City Council for grants for the 24 schools in Laurel area, both public and private, in the amount of $500 awarded to each school. At our last meeting, we had decided that we'd like to put forth the proposal again for the upcoming budget for 2024, asking City Council for $12,000 that would grant $500 for each school in the Laurel area. And given that our CEO for Prince George's Community County Public Schools will be changing, and the recent release of the Maryland report card for the Laurel schools, and seeing on average that our schools in our area are performing at 35% proficiency in reading and 20% in math, We feel that these grants would help our schools in providing extra resources. As a member of the Laurel Women's Club, I know that we're sponsoring a birthday book for each student at Laurel Elementary School. And I think a grant such as the one that we're proposing would help to supplement efforts such as this to improve literacy, which we all know is very important for all our students. So again, I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Vice Chair Jackson. We're definitely taking into consideration and we're looking forward to getting something done on that. All right, is there anyone else signed up to speak? That was it, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll close the public hearing at 6:34 p.m. Right. And the second public hearing with possible action on this item will be at the May 22nd, 2023 Mayor and City Council meeting at 6 p.m. and will be held in person in the council chambers. There being no further business to come before the Mayor and City Council tonight, this meeting is adjourned.
Record.